Hey guys, well I mentioned on my bike and coffee video that we'd go over the AMP-3 Ifak kit, and let's just get to it. One, I mentioned before, but I really like the tall, skinny lock sacks that they found. But you get a small roll of Coban, and this is very slick, sort of silk medical tape that I really like. It holds very well. Several pairs of black surgical gloves, and then some of the modules. There's a medication module. Here's the sort of bandage module. There's the wound care irrigation module. And I must say, I mean, I know Doc likes his organization, but I love having a first aid kit that's this organized. Wound care dressing supplies, and this is the personal protection admin module, and we'll kind of go over that. And the last thing is, of course, he puts everything on the Right in the Rain waterproof paper, but you have a line injury note, evac requests, and of course all the stuff on your kit, items to restock. And what I would do is, he includes a pencil, is, you know, if you use any of this stuff, I would just mark it, give it a little circle on here. Alright, let's just start with the personal protection admin module. And of course you get a list of everything that comes in it. Let's pull some of the stuff out here. And of course everything's neatly organized. He does have little County-Com scissors, the Meritac scissors, which I really like, but I will say the one thing that annoys me on them is the tips don't come together. I've had to do, obviously this isn't going to focus too well, but I've had to do some fine work, and I'm not sure why they don't make the tips meet for at the very tip up close work. Still great little scissors. It's hard to beat for something that small and that sharp. You get 4 antibacterial wipes, a small pencil, and then in this little guy, get some more little goodies. Safety pin. There's a little set of the tweezers. There's a small razor blade, tucks nicely in there, and these splinter outs, which I'm not going to open this one, but I did research them. I hadn't run into anything like this, and it reminds me a lot of the tip of a syringe. If any of you guys have ever used the scalloped sharp tip of a syringe to get out splinters or debris in a wound, it's very similar to that. It's like a 3-sided front tip, very sharp for digging out. I recommend you looking up splinter out. I'm sure there'll be better, closer up pictures on a website, and of course a couple safety pins in there. But I had never heard of those, and I had to do a little research on them, and I really dig them. They are a neat little thing. Alright, we'll put this all together for sake of time later. The wound care dressing kit, and this includes the stuff down here. Just pull this out so you can see what's in there. Triple antibiotic ointments. Doc has a little bit of duct tape on a paper backing so you can just peel it off. Nice 3M steri strips. Those things are pretty sturdy. Little wound closure butterfly bandages, and an assortment of medium to large band-aids. They're about a little bit, I'd say about medium size. Alright, so for the wound care and irrigation module, many of you guys know that for a long time I carried a irrigation syringe with a little pouch of liquid iodine solution, and in the back of my head I was always worried that that might burst and ruin a bunch of stuff. And the doc comes along with such a no-brainer idea, but to use the iodine prep pads, and he carries 2 of those in there. You get several alcohol wipes in there, a nice what was it, 12cc irrigation syringe with the little module on the end, the cup, that I love. He's got a great video of. I'll put a link up there. But really cool idea. It's a touch bit bulky, but really nice. I haven't seen anything as effective as that. There are 2 little ampules of benzoin, I believe they are, benzoin tinctures, which are still one of my favorites for topical sort of wound cleaning, and it also leaves a very slight tacky residue that really allows you to use those butterfly closures and a few other things. I use them anytime I do any band-aid on the foot, even just duct tape, things for blisters, moleskin. It's really nice to put that on so that it's really kind of a lasting fix, especially if you're out in the wilderness and you're out hiking. You kind of want your bandages to stay in place. With that, he does give a little thing of liquid skin, and it's basically the same as super glue, the main ingredient in here. And just to be advised, it's not for filling in, wounds. It's for creating liquid stitches across. You don't really want to get this stuff down into a wound, but you can use it to keep a wound closed that way. Hangnails, split fingernails, things like that. It does come in handy. I don't normally carry it, but there are some pretty good uses for it. And then the rest of the wound care in here, nice big 5x9 combi pad, the thicker pads. Here's the larger band-aids in here. Tegaderm, these things are phenomenal, and they hold for days. You won't be able to see it in there, but I love the Tegaderm patch. They're a little on the spendy side, but when we want good quality, dressing, this stuff will last through showers. It's really a really cool product. Non-adherent pads, which I like. I think I mentioned in another video. A lot of kits don't include those, and they're a very vital part of wound management. A little bit of moleskin, and then several 4x4 gauzes. And the last one is the medication module. You get 8 ibuprofen, 8 acetaminophen, 4 of the Zantac, 4 basically Benadryl. There's a Mesaline, which is for nausea and vomiting. Hadn't heard of that one. Aspirin, and 2 mitigators, which are the sting relief, which is one of the nicer ones I like, only because it's it's kind of old school. I believe the main ingredient is the sodium bicarbonate, and so it's real natural, but it works. Some of the old school things are very effective, so it's nice to have a little module in there. Again, I really like the way he divided it all up. It's easy to access, which is kind of the main key when you're reaching for your first aid kit. You really don't want to be digging through a bunch of things. I mentioned that in the Adventure Medical kits. Everything was kind of thrown into those pouches of the SOL3 I recently did a review on, and I'm gonna have to go in there and organize that just for aid of use, for keeping things clean and organized, and it's really the way to go. Now I know Doc, Dave, and Carl, they're not new to this, so it's a very cool kit that's put together. There are a few things that you could break down after you get them to help save on weight and just space, but would add cost because it would add time to theirs. You can break down the rolls of tape a little bit smaller. Certainly all the medication modules depend on your personal preference, but I'm a big fan of kind of making smaller kits into smaller bags, but he would not be able to resell it to you that way. So there is some things you can do by breaking down some of the medications, keeping the instructions and dates and stuff if you want nice and flat on the back of there, and some other stuff to do. But overall, a very cool kit. And as far as things that I'm going to change or modify, right off the bat, I will tell you that this was my module, if you will. This is my blister kit. It's got some of the next tier stuff. It's got some of the AMK Glacier Shield, I think they call them, Glacier bandages, which I really like. The Glacier dressings, burns and blisters, but this stuff will stay on for 4 days. So unless you actually need to change the bandage, you're good to go. There's no worry about pulling it off. And so because of the environment I'm going to be in, hiking all over, for wildland fire use, I'm going to up my blister kit. Now, more than likely, I haven't decided yet, I probably will be breaking down into a very small, sort of like his EDC or his scout kit to keep in my fire pack. This Ifak will actually probably be in my red bag, or the Maxpedition Doppelduffel, as a resupply and as a sort of an overall nightly care. I'm not spending the night out on the fire line. I'm coming back to a tent, and this is where sort of the personal care will come into handy right there. I will be upping the duct tape a little bit because I'm a duct tape guy. And the only other thing I could think of is I'm going to add a little masticol in there. Excuse me. Mastisol. I got from a friend of mine who's in the medical field, and it is a surgical adhesive, liquid adhesive, and this stuff will stay on through showers. So if I have any sort of wound that maybe I won't need to be changing the dressings, or something I want to protect, or maybe bad blister spot, depending on how it fits, blister moleskin and stuff isn't always the perfect application, and depending on what I need to do and how long I'm going to be out there, this stuff is a great little thing. Now, it is a little spendy. I'm almost sure you can buy it probably on Amazon or something. They do make bigger bottles of this, but I carry a couple of these little ampules in here. Again, this would be something that would be nice in the kit, but it's going to increase the cost, and it's not going to be useful to a whole lot of people. So that's why everyone, you make your own personal first aid kits. Kits like Doc's and the AMP-3 kit is a great way to start, but I encourage all you guys to personalize your gear. Now, as far as, I did not buy the blood stopper, and just a quick little thing, one of the reasons I didn't was because 90% of their kit I actually already have. The SWAT T tourniquet, I think, is one of the best tourniquets out there, and I was glad to see Doc included that in his. It's just a whole lot more versatile than just a standard trauma tourniquet, I think. Being able to stretch and apply, very similar to the Coban. If you have a large wound area, you can wrap this up like the Coban. It sticks to itself, and then pretty no-brainer. You bring the circle into a square, you stretch it so that it meets there, and you're able to adjust the pressure that you put on a bandage. And honestly, there's hardly a wound that most of you that will find that good solid pressure won't stop the bleeding. A couple things I won't include that I pulled out of my trauma kit off my my vest is I'm not going to need a nasal kit, disposable scalpel, that's the jelly, lubricant jelly. So that I'll be leaving back in my trauma kit on my vest. But I've already got some quick clot, which I may or not include in there. And then he chose the Israeli bandage, and I'm actually kind of hooked on these. If you can see it in there, it's the Olace modular bandage. This is the 4-inch. It's all vacuum sealed in there. Very small, but a very capable and multi-purpose bandage. And if Dave and Carl, if you're watching this, I don't know what the cost is, but I also get several of what they call their training ones. So they're non-sterile, they're non-vacuumed, but they're still plenty good, and they're a little bit cheaper for me to practice, and that's why I've got one out. This is the one I keep in my kit, and they're from TacMed Solutions, who I found through Haas UMC, and I really like just all their thought. One, they have a little pressure cup, so you're able to keep pressure directly on the wound site underneath. All their sort of ace bandage material every so often is velcroed, so that you have, you don't have all that whole roll wandering off into the dirt. It's all secured, and every so often you'll run into another piece that you have to unvelcro. So it's a little bit better. It does have the little plastic hooks at the very end to complete the bandage site, but it is a very thick absorbent pad. A couple things it has inside is a piece of plastic for an occlusive bandage. You can unwrap this for covering the chest, the whole 9 yards. And then it's very similar to a Z-pack, but you can literally pull out some of the packing material out of a Z-pack and pull this whole thing out to stuff either a separate wound site or perhaps the bottom of a wound site, so that you can put the bandage on top. And it's a very multi-purpose bandage, especially with the occlusive. I like the pressure cup idea on there, and it's sort of the new generation of Israeli bandage, and I was lucky enough to see it on USMC, or the Haas USMC. So very cool. And again, the training ones, although not sterile, are still useful, and but they're not vacuum sealed. This is the 6-inch version, and you can see the 4-inch version is a little bit tighter package. So that's what I carry into the woods with the trauma kit, as sort of my blood stopper kit. But you know, I want to be the prepared guy, but I also know that we're going to have medics on the line. I've even got an EMT gal in our group, so the chances that I will need this sort of firepower is limited. And we'll wait till I get my pack and see how the loadout is and see how the weight is to see how much more firepower I want to carry. You know, it never hurts to have the gear there, even if someone else is going to use it that's more trained than you. And I think it's a great kit. I'll leave a link below. You can check them out. AMP-3 Ifak. Thanks, guys.